Stopping procrastination is surprisingly simple, though not always easy to do. You don't procrastinate because you're lazy, overwhelmed with work, or a helpless victim of your circumstances. No, the real reason is that you're choosing to procrastinate. You're avoiding something, maybe discomfort, boredom, fear of failure, or simply the feeling that the task is too much to handle. But here's the truth you need to face. Procrastination isn't a solution. It's just a way to trick yourself into short-term comfort at the cost of long-term stress and pressure. Call procrastination by its real name: avoidance. You're trying to escape a task because it makes you uncomfortable. Maybe it's too hard, too dull, or you're afraid you won't do it well. But so what? Procrastinating won't make the task disappear. It doesn't solve anything. In fact, it only makes things worse. You think you're dodging the difficulty, but in reality, you're just adding an invisible weight to your shoulders. It's like trying to cover a deep wound with a Band-Aid. It doesn't really help. It only makes things worse. You often tell yourself, "I'll do it later." But that's a lie. You're not going to magically wake up tomorrow feeling full of energy and motivation to get started. You think you work better under pressure at the last minute, but that's just an illusion. The truth is, you don't work better. You just work faster because you have no other choice. And the result? The quality of your work often suffers. The reality is, you're not waiting for the right moment. You're waiting for the task to feel easier. But here's the bad news. That's never going to happen. Waiting doesn't make difficult tasks simpler. It only gives you less time to complete them. That's a fact you need to accept. So how do you stop procrastinating? The answer is so simple, you might not want to hear it. Just start. That's right, just start. It sounds simple, but it's not easy to do. The hardest part of any task isn't the work itself. It's the first step, the decision to begin. Once you push past that initial hesitation, everything gets easier. The moment you start, motivation will follow naturally, like water flowing from a faucet once you turn the handle. That task you once thought was impossible now feels doable. But if you just sit there thinking about it, it will only grow scarier in your mind. The real problem isn't the task itself, it's your procrastination. Think about it. Have you ever started something and then realized it was actually worse than you imagined? Most likely no. More often than not, once you begin, you realize it's not as bad as you thought. So why do you keep hesitating? Here's a strategy I call the just start method, and it actually works. First, set a timer for 10 minutes. Tell yourself, I'll just do this for 10 minutes. If it's awful, I can stop. But here's the interesting part. 9 times out of 10, you won't stop. Why? Because once you start, the mental barrier breaks, and you'll want to keep going. Next, begin with the easiest part of the task. Don't overcomplicate things. If you need to write an essay, just open the document and type the title, or jot down a simple outline. If you need to clean, pick up one item and put it in its place. These small steps create momentum, the very thing you need to keep moving forward. Motivation is like a companion. It shows up when you take action, and small wins lead to bigger successes. One more thing, stop multitasking. Procrastinators love multitasking because it makes them feel busy, but in reality, they're not accomplishing anything. Focus on one task at a time. Turn off TikTok, close YouTube, and eliminate distractions. When you focus, your productivity skyrockets. But I know, you'll come up with excuses. I don't have time. Really? You have time to scroll on your phone, binge Netflix until midnight, but not enough time for something important? Everyone has 24 hours in a day. The difference is how you use them. I'm not motivated. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. Don't wait until you feel like working. Build discipline instead. Discipline is what gets things done, not motivation. It's too hard. Maybe it is, but avoiding it won't make it any easier. Break it down into smaller steps and start with something simple. Keep going, and progress will follow. So what happens after you start? How do you keep going? The answer is building momentum. Think of momentum like a snowball. It starts small, but the more it rolls, the bigger it gets. Every small action adds up, creating a chain of progress. Finish the title and main points? Great. Write the first paragraph. Cleaned your room? Awesome. Now tackle those papers. Momentum doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to exist. The more you do, the more confident you become. And confidence isn't something you need to start. It's something you gain through action. Still finding excuses to procrastinate? I'm too tired. Then do something small, even just 5 minutes. Progress, no matter how small, is better than nothing. I don't know where to start. Pick the easiest, most obvious point and begin there. But what if I fail? You might fail, and that's okay. Failure isn't the end. It's a lesson. It helps you learn, adjust, and try again. Sitting still out of fear won't protect you. It will only keep you stuck. Stopping procrastination is a habit, not a one-time fix. And habits are built through repetition. Try starting each day with the hardest task, what's called eating the frog. Once you tackle the most difficult thing, everything else feels easier. Or, if you prefer, start with something simple to build momentum. Set clear deadlines for every task. Because work without limits is the perfect breeding ground for procrastination. And don't forget to reward yourself when you finish. Your brain loves dopamine, so give it a reason to associate completing tasks with pleasure. Let me be blunt. No one is coming to save you. Your boss, your parents, your friends, no one is going to force you to take action. It's all on you. Every time you procrastinate, you're choosing temporary comfort over long-term success. And that is the real tragedy. But the good news? You always have a choice. Every second you waste is a second you could be using to build the life you want. Don't wait for motivation, clarity, or some magical sign. The only sign you need is right now. Get up and start.